All right, Andy here with the Crypto Show, and I was just lucky enough to attend a Project Veritas talk, and I learned about Zach Voorhees. See, I even said his name right. And Kent, and I don't know your last name.
Heckin'
Heckin' lively.
Heckin' lively.
Full of
All
heck,
right.
twice as lively.
So, Zach is a whistleblower from Google who blew the whistle on Google about all of the censorship that was going on, and he started working with Project Veritas. So, what brought you into that, and what made you decide to blow the whistle on Google?
God, I just love programming. I feel that if I didn't have this obsession over programming, that I would have been a total failure in life. But from high school, I got a TI-83 calculator. I just started programming it, and I had this like idiot savant sort of like thing with computers and programming, and it went all the way through college, and then I just rocketed all the way up in my career until I hit Google. It was the most amazing dream job ever. I had more money than I could ever imagine, and the company itself reflected my core values at the beginning. But then something happened. 2016 and the election of Donald Trump. And that's when the company just went and just took a nosedive. They went from a company with a mission statement to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, direct quote, to a company that was manipulating and re-ranking all the information on the internet for political gain. And they did this with a project called Machine Learning Fairness. And I found this because I'm just a curious cat and I like to research things. And as I started going down this rabbit hole of like, well, how does Google define fake news and what's the thing that's censoring it? I started to paint this picture with all the documents that I found of this massive censorship regime that was about to destroy the internet. And no one knew that this was coming out.
You know, something that I noticed on stage was a recurring theme is most of the whistleblowers up there, and you had about 7 whistleblowers on stage, I believe. A lot of you were previously leaned left. You're a Democrat, and maybe you still do. Why do you think big tech is focusing or leaning left on the censorship? Why are they so hard and after the right?
Okay, so there's got to be terms that have to be defined, right? Like when you go into law, there's like a dictionary that you use.
Right.
And so let's start with the terms. Like what is leftism, right? It's morphed. And it used to be this liberalism. Oh, just get the government out and let everyone do their thing, let the gay people do their thing. And like, I'm for that. Like, get the government off their back. Let's not have this like Christian authoritarianism that says what's wrong and what's right because they're in power. Let's be diverse. Let's be inclusive. But then, somewhere around like 2012, 2014, leftism abandoned liberalism, and they went to progressive, communist authoritarianism. And as they started getting into this intolerant society, the reaction to that became conservative, right? Liberalism is now a conservative value. Think about that. And if liberalism is now a conservative value, what does that mean about conservatism? It follows the demographics. It's the people with their experiences during teenage years trying to preserve that life that they thought that they had to this ever approaching central banking cartel that's taking over the world. And so to define a right-wing ideology, basically it's anything that's not left-wing. Left-wing has a center point. I define right-wing as anything that's not left-wing. That includes libertarians, that includes evangelicals, that includes Baptists, right? That includes classical liberals now. We're all under the same tent. So, I'm a conservative, I'm a classical liberal. Google abandoned liberalism and they decided that they were going to go towards this hard left. And as a result, I got left in the dust going, hey guys, what's going on here? I guess I'm a conservative now because they've moved so far to the left. The people, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they decided to go that way. I disagree with that decision. I disagree with the way that Google went. And that's the reason why I spoke out, is because I don't want them to have a top-down, centrally planned internet and economic system that they push on the American people without their consent without a way to change it via our democratic institutions, which they're now tearing down. And I saw that in 2016, and and that's why I blew the whistle.
Well, you obviously progressed into this. What was the straw that broke the camel's back? What was the one thing that said, okay, I gotta change this?
All right, so as I started deconstructing all the things that I believed in, as I realized that they were more like positions of power rather than based in truth, I saw this, right? Maybe I'll show this to your audience here, but this is covfefe, okay? Trump said covfefe. He made a tweet that said, despite the constant negative press, covfefe.
Right.
It turns out that covfefe was a word in the Arabic to English translation dictionary. It meant we will stand up. So if you put that back with the tweet, what he was saying is, despite the constant negative press, we will stand up. Well, the New York Times was like, that's nonsense. And they wrote this huge article saying it's nonsense. That article was cited the very next day at Google saying this word's nonsense, and we mistakenly translate it. So obviously we've got to correct ourselves for the reality that the New York Times has set up. And so what I saw was a design document that was deleting this word out of the Arabic translation dictionary, and then 7 days later, on June 7th, the Washington Post was arguing to invoke the 25th Amendment to get rid of the sitting president because he was tweeting nonsense. Yes, he was tweeting nonsense because you changed the definition of the words to make it nonsense. That's when I realized that it wasn't just political bias. This was sedition. This was a form of insurrection. And if I didn't say anything about it, then I would be part of the conspiracy.
In your book, you make some references of blacklist. You want to talk a little bit about that?
God, yeah, blacklist. Let me tell you, and I want to give Ken here. Ken, do you want to tell the story?
And I only know this because I happened upon your conversation with someone else just earlier. So
the blacklist was incredible, and I think that what people don't understand is that there are very specific things that they are censoring. And what really got Zach was the fact that about half of their blacklist was about articles about the Las Vegas massacre, which only one narrative only one narrative was allowed to exist about Las Vegas, which was that.
Are we still on good? Okay.
The only narrative which was allowed to exist was that this previously peaceful 64-year-old millionaire, Stephen Paddock, unaccountably became deranged and caused the greatest mass shooting in U.S. history. So that and a number of other things like the Eighth Amendment to the Constitution of Ireland, which is specifically about abortion. You couldn't find it under a Google search. They wanted to do lots of social justice things like men can, and then it would auto-finish, have periods, so.
Men can have periods, men can get pregnant, men can cry. It's crazy.
Now that we know that's crazy because men cannot cry, okay? So.
I've never seen him cry.
Well, you haven't seen me at a good movie. But.
So, no, but just this, cloud cuckoo land that Google was becoming, and that's why when Zach approached me to do the story, I just said, Zach, we're on the phone, you can't see me, but I am down on my knees begging you to let me tell your story because this is such an important story.
And so you're the author of the book, and then
I am the co-author.
Okay, you're the co-author of the book Google Leaks.
Yes, it comes out August 3rd, Tuesday, August 3rd. You can pre-order on Amazon now before it's banned. We're actually kind of worried about that, but we'll see if
get it now.
I'm hoping I don't get banned for this video.
We'll see.
I probably will.
We'll see if Amazon wants to make money or be woke. I actually think that Amazon is choosing money over philosophy these days. So, but we'll see. They've banned one of my books before, so we'll
Which
see.
one was that?
The Case Against Masks. And what was interesting about that is that my publisher had one book called The Case for Masks and another one called The Case Against Masks. Well, they let The Case for Masks stay up on Amazon. They took mine off.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much. I know you guys got a lot to do, and you got to catch up with James. So I'll let you go with that. Thanks so much for talking to
Thank
me.
you.
And hopefully this doesn't get banned.
Go get James. I'm going to go do an interview.
Okay.
And then I'm going to